Ben, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for having me here. I'm very good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. I'm great. Benedetto, for people who don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I am Italian. I am the CEO of Fox Finance. Fox Finance is a DeFi protocol born on Algorand. Now we launched on several chains, including Arbitrum, Ethereum, BNB, Base. Um, I will tell you a bit more later about the protocol. About myself, my passion is spearfishing. I grew up in the south of Italy on the sea, and then I went to Milan to study at Polytechnic University of Milan. And later on, I went to do a master also in Cardiff University. After that, I had the chance to work for the largest Web3 software house of Italy, and that's where Fox Finance started. So I guess that's a bit about me.
Nice, nice. Well, could you take us back to the start of your career and talk us through the roles that you've held so far in your career journey?
Yes. So I was working as a project manager for the software house, and I was managing different projects that were on tokenization, supply chain with blockchain, blockchain in healthcare, and that was 2019, and then 2020 DeFi started to boom in Ethereum. So we had the DeFi summer, and at the same time there were different layer one that were trying to compete with Ethereum. They were newborn, like Solana, Algorand, Near, Avalanche, and I remember there was like beginning of growth of DeFi in every chain, like Ethereum killer. Like in Ethereum was already big, and on the new chain was just starting. So with the software house, we were partner of Algorand, and we decided to build strategically a DeFi protocol on Algorand. So the decision was just made, thinking, okay, new layer one are uprising, in every ecosystem there will be DeFi. So we're going to build an Algorand since we are already partner there. Obviously, the tech is very good. So building DeFi made a lot of sense. We started as a lending protocol, and I remember at this time, I switched from being a project manager into a full-time job as CEO of a raising startup, and there was a lot of FOMO around DeFi those new layer ones. In fact, under my leadership, we were able to raise $3 million in a very, let's say, exclusive round. We were onboarding name like Coinbase, Parafy, Jump, OKX, Borderless. This was the first round, and was like, let's say, the first round of such successful name into an Algorand ecosystem, the Algorand ecosystem. So after that, when you fundraise, you start to expand, the team grow. So it was indeed a challenge for me. I switched from being project manager of teams of few people and having a company that was very fast growing. There was the mainnet launch, which was another big milestone. It was very hard to grow. We had a competitor in the ecosystem that was way more advanced than us, but our strategy was keep building, keep being good, keep being reliable, keep listening to the community, and we achieved that. Later on, we became the largest on Algorand. I say this was our first big target, and now the second target is happening, which is expand in other chains and became leader in DeFi. So this is a bit about, let's say, the journey.
That sounds cool. To go from project manager to then being CEO, that's quite the switch.
Yeah.
When you started your career, did you know or always know that you wanted to be a CEO eventually? Was that the plan?
So I'll tell you, I used to be a mechanical designer. So my bachelor is mechanical engineering, and I used to work between doing my master as a mechanical designer. I hated it. It was for me always staying at the laptop doing my tasks. Yes, I liked, but it was, I would feel I was limited when I would see my boss, like the manager, the like the boss of the company. going out, meet clients, talk, selling, building the business. For me, it was very attracting. That's why I felt that I needed to do a switch, and I did this master in management engineering. So let's say I also come from a background of entrepreneurial family. So my father is an entrepreneur, my brothers also. So I kind of have this in the family skills, in the blood skills, and I just felt very good in doing it when the situation arrived. I still love to be the leader. I do it with passion. It's a 24/7 job that never burned me out.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. Um, so could you take us through, this might be quite a vague question, and I'm sure it varies, but could you talk us through a day in the life of the CEO at Folks Finance?
Okay, yes. Most of my time it's between travels. It's actually one of the very good, but at the same time a pain point because when you travel so much and you switch between time zones, you just really much miss the stability and being able to go to home and sleep in your bed, meet your partner, your family. Um, so it's hard in that sense. But okay, let's say I travel, I go to conferences, I meet um, existing connection, I make new, I think what is good for the team, I know what is our mission, so I strategically meet other partners. And at the same time, meanwhile traveling, I'm also always monitoring what happened in the team chat. So every day, let's say I wake up, check all emails, all Discord channels, messages, Telegram, and later I do my daily meetings. Um, I can be pretty flexible with my timings. So let's say I can say next 2 hours I'm going to gym. Doesn't matter what time in the day it is, because I know what I have to do. As soon as I manage to do this, I can focus also on other things. It wasn't always like this. I had, let's say, the first year that was very tough. I had to dedicate a lot of time to folks. But now that the team is larger and I have CMO, CTO, CEO, it's everything. It's a bit more, let's say, delegated, and I no need to do everything. I can supervision. I attend each team. Let's say I attend the meeting with the marketing. I attend the meeting with the economics, with the developers, just to make sure that I'm aligned. But I don't follow into details each single thing that is happening. I do supervise everything though,
Mhm.
and obviously I do many interviews.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, you talked us through folks in a little bit of detail before. Could you talk us through, I guess, the problems that you guys are specifically solving within DeFi and like what your mission is?
So let's say our also mission switched between the evolving of our journey and in general the industry evolving is evolving as well. But we started in wanted to build a very good lending protocol competing with the others, because when we started we saw that it was 2020, so you can imagine like just Aave and Compound was on the market and was in their first version. You could feel that there was a lot of room of improvements. Plus, on Ethereum, gas fees was very expensive. It was very, very limiting to use products on Ethereum. So, building a lending protocol better on Algorand was for us the way to kind of put the industry standard to another level, because we have a chain that is much more performant and more affordable to use. Transaction fees are very cheap on Algorand. So the idea was like, why people use Ethereum? They should use something faster, cheaper, and with a better product, right? Um, Later on, this kind of switched when we understood that DeFi also uh, is limiting itself, because as builders, what we tend to do is always build vertical products that are usually, let's say, for swapping you use Uniswap, for lending you use Aave, for staking Lido. And then you go on centralized exchange and you have all of those plus more in one place. And then you see numbers. You have, like, on Uniswap 5 million users. On centralized exchange you have 200 millions. So
Yeah.
you get to think, like, why is that? Obviously there are different frictional parts that limits this, right? And one of these is the fact that in DeFi, in order to manage your assets, you need to use multiple tools. That's not nice. In centralized exchange, you do in one place everything. That's why I believe that also users like it more. So we decided to keep adding tools to the protocol, so to build this one-stop shop with DeFi tools. So we added so we had lending, we added the liquid staking, swaps, and then, thanks to the composability of the lending, which I said we made innovation around that, so we made a very good lending protocol. We were able to combine flash loans, and additional feature that came later, like swaps or liquid staking, to build the leverage feature. So by doing that with the swap, we built leverage trading. By doing that with the liquid staking, we built leverage liquid staking. So um, you understand that here, then, when you have a very powerful product as a very good lending protocol, then by simply combining contracts, you can build new tools at zero additional added risks and costs, in a sense. So this is amazing, like, compared to CeFi, that is totally different. And this was our mission for a while, and I can say that it worked very well, because on Algorand we became the largest DeFi protocol by far. And we thought at some point, okay, we have a very good product, but we can't be limited to deliver it to a single chain. Then this mission switched again. The problem, though, in that was that, being on a non-EVM chain, we couldn't just fork our product and deploy it on another chain, as everyone does if you are EVM. So,
Yeah.
for example, Aave, that is on Ethereum, was able to just fork the product into new chains, and that's it. For us, it would have meant rebuild everything from scratch, obtain an ugly copy of Folks on Algorand, because it would require a lot of effort, and anyway, it's everything from scratch. And they're not even talking to each other. Um, we thought that this was not worth, but when we went aware of messaging layers and cross-chain technology, we decided that we could do this step with the right way. So the mission became, okay, every tool that we have, we are going to build it cross-chain, so that it can be in any chain we support seamlessly. So for us, it requires much less effort to integrate a new chain. Plus, we have the advantage of being able to interoperate chain, being able to aggregate liquidity between chains, because this is also a problem of DeFi, because
Yeah.
all the liquidity is fragmented on single chains, and it doesn't help each other. Um, by using cross-chain technology, you can do that. For example, on our X-chain lending, we are able to aggregate liquidity from USDC, from all the chain that we support, into one single pool, so that the pool is larger, and you can take bigger loan without impacting the utilization ratio. It's just an example. Same is for the swaps. You are able to swap between multiple dexes on multiple network, so you are improving the swap efficiency, so the price impact is reduced, simply because you are routing the swap into multiple network. So the mission now is this: we recently deployed our like few months ago, our cross-chain lending. We integrated cross-chain swaps from LiFi. Soon we are going to have cross-chain liquid staking, so it's evolving. And just to conclude, the future mission is to bring this to the Web2 users. That's why we are building a mobile app that will offer also custody. So we are removing again one more friction, which is the custody part for the user.
Cool. Sounds like you guys are covering a lot of different areas now. Very
Correct.
different to when you initially started.
Yes.
Um, was that always the plan to evolve the product into that all-encompassing DeFi tool, or when you started, did you think, you know what, we're just going to be lending and it just naturally evolved, or did you always think, you know what, we need to expand it, we want to expand it into other areas?
Yeah. So at the beginning was like, honestly, was like, okay, we build a better lending. We are gonna be the main lending product in the industry.
Yeah,
Um, we understood that this was not enough. We saw DeFi was, it's still now for some extent not competing much with exchange, even though users are much more open to trade on DeFi, but still it's much smaller. So I think that we need to learn what has been done good from centralized exchange, implement it in DeFi, and make sure that we build the best user experience for the retail users in order to onboard more and more people.
nice. And what's the biggest challenge building something like you guys are doing now?
I would say it's it's very often hard to choose what to do. Let's say simple decision making in a company, as in every company. Let's say what feature we build next, what we are going to focus on. Everything is about cost opportunity, right? What is going to bring us the quickest revenue at the less effort. So it's more in that sense. Then we have also, let's say, like the tokening plan. So it's everything like a big soup with a lot of ingredients, and you have
Yeah,
to pick which one to add at the right time. But this is one of the hard thing. Another thing is, you know, let's say till we were in a single chain, it was kind of easier. You concentrate all your effort there. You are able to engage very well also and easier with the community. But when you're trying to expand, you have to face different communities, different teams in different chains. So the BD and the marketing becomes so much more hard, but also even the technical part, because you need to, let's say, when you have two protocol like us, you have to monitor two different products. Even let's say for the security part, you need to be very careful. So it's like, you have one kid on, you have two. It's harder obviously to manage two. It's the same.
okay. And how do you choose what new chains to expand to? Do you just look at the user base or the community or
Yeah,
people
mostly.
already building in that space?
We look at which chain is actually in hype for DeFi, what people are looking for, where obviously technically feasible integration, um, potential incentives from the chains to attract liquidity. So this is the parameters that we look at.
Sounds cool. Sounds cool. Sounds like a really interesting journey that you guys have been on over the last few years. You've probably, as a CEO for the first time, you've probably learned a lot in that time.
Yes,
Um,
yes. It's like I don't know. Sometimes I feel myself 50 years old, and I'm barely 29, almost 30 next year.
yeah, I can only imagine. But what were some of the challenges that surprised you when you stepped into that CEO role? Were there any that you just really weren't expecting?
Um, I think that one of the challenge that you through time you overcome and you get used to it is the kind of the stress of having the responsibility. Now I really learn how to manage it. I really know how to avoid to bring in my home the stress of work, even though if I might be working from home, let's say, um, I know that when I'm closing my phone, that's it. I'm spending time with my fiance and I'm relaxing 100%. And before was hard. I wouldn't turn off notification on my phone, and I would wake up every time I hear it ringing, and I'm like, maybe it's something for folks. And then you understand that life is not only work, and you need to be able to cope with that. So I think this was a big challenge. Was stressful at the beginning in that sense. I wasn't doing much sport. I was only thinking about that, and later on I became more conscious about it, and decided to start to take my spaces.
Was that a conscious decision from you, or did you just naturally start to relax in the role a little bit?
No, no, I think start naturally arrived. Like I just started to feel more relaxed in it, and simply it.
Okay, fair enough. And how did you learn to become a CEO? I know it's quite a vague question, but
No,
as a
it's
CEO, it's like who do you learn from, right? In
uh,
that role.
let's say I'll tell you something. In Italy, I don't think we have a lot of um, knowledge compared to, for example, the US or UK, how to become an entrepreneur. When you go to university, you are mostly learning how to be a good employee. Um, it's not a skill that is often given. Um, Therefore, I think that the fact that I felt it a bit naturally without learning it, let's say I didn't do an MBA, or I didn't do like studying something that would push me to do startups.
Yeah,
Um, so feeling it naturally, it's kind of like your call, like that you can do it because you feel good in it as well. And learning while doing it's totally fine. Important is the thing that I think I would have done more in the past. It's asking more to who is more experienced than you. At the very beginning, I was maybe not even thinking about it. Even during the accelerator, we did an accelerator. I wasn't relying so much on mentors. I would wait for them to do the call. But now I'm a mentor in Techstar Accelerator, right? And it's one of the best accelerator. And the thing that I always say to, and I'm mentoring many programs, by the way.
okay.
The thing that I always say to the startuppers, to the teams that are in the programs, I always say ask anything. The people that are in front of you, they already did this. They had the same path as you. So there is no stupid question besides those that are not being asked. So I put myself in their shoes of 4 years ago, and I would just do things a little bit different. Maybe ask two opinion rather than one. Like it's always good to do that.
Are there any really common mistakes that you see young startups make from your mentoring and things like? Is there quite a common theme across
Yeah,
the
this
board
one
that they
that
always
I
are?
just said, yes, 100%.
Okay.
Uh, but in general, people tend to not ask. When if they would ask in general in life, they would understand that people are willing to give. So if you don't ask, how can you get something? So always ask. That's the thing. Like people are really willing to give. If they are not, okay, fine. If you ask it in a kind way and not being annoying or rude in the way of asking it, it's fine. People still appreciate you even just because you asked.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have mentors now that you can turn to and ask questions of?
Yes, I do have one mentor in the company. She's her name is Maya Vujinovic, and she's very OG in the industry, and she's very experienced. So I learned from her a lot, and I ask her a lot of things, not just about work. Like we are also kind of friends, so it's not only about the work. Like you need to ask things to people always to have an opinion, and later on digest and make your own.
Yeah, 100%. And where do you go to find a mentor? Like if you were, if say if I came to you and said, look, I really need to find myself a mentor, where do I start?
It's I think it has to be kind of a mutual relationship. So in my experience with Maya, for example, was um, we met in a side event of a conference, and we just started to talk, and I understood she was very smart, and she understood our project and the potential. So she just said maybe we can collaborate. after this. So we went on a call and we decided that she was going to be good to be a mentor for us. And this now lasts, I think, almost 3 years.
Okay.
And the way I am I'm helping company as a mentor. Uh, Sometimes they see useful me to be a mentor for them, so we just have a call and we explore this. And I said, okay, I think I could help in this way. I like your company. I can be also a mentor, but I don't think that you should. I don't know. At least for me, if I don't know someone based on LinkedIn, I may feel weird to ask to be a mentor. I would start to know someone, and later on, I would feel if it can be a mentor. It's a mentor. It's someone that is gonna stay with you. It's like kind of part of the team, an advisor, right? Um, so it's it's not something that you do based on the paper. You should do it also based on the human feelings.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose you really have to vibe with that person, right? Because you need to trust each other, and yeah, you need to be able to talk to them about anything, I guess. So yeah, that relationship with them is yeah probably pretty key.
Yeah.
Um, and say if someone was becoming the CEO of a Web3 project for the first time, um, what do you think they need to be aware of? Can you talk us through a few things that you think people should be aware of before it?
Yeah, cool. So the first thing I would say is trust your guts. Do double checking, but trust your guts. Let's say very often, especially when you fundraise and you have money, people that are usually bitter, like they turn into honey. So uh, you need to you kind of get used to it through time. So you have this guts feeling. Um, but at the very beginning this honey might looks very shining and tasty, right? So you're willing to take a sip, right? Like it's um it's hard, but like if you are the one who care about the company, you also have this feeling of like, okay, maybe this is something a bit weird, like maybe I should do a little bit more due diligence. Okay, so I had this in the past. I sometimes listened more, let's say, investors rather than my gut's feeling, and I would have done mistakes. So I think that definitely you need to learn from others and ask advice from others. But in the end, the one who really cares about the company, it's you as a founder. So it's very important that you trust yourself. But again, uh, take information from everyone, because information is very valuable assets to make your own decision later on. Um, Another thing that we already mentioned is investors. Like they are also one of the things that can be very honey until they get what they want, that is their ticket in your round, and maybe later on they disappear. So when choosing them, be very, very careful, especially if you have the opportunity to choose them. Let's say in our round, we were oversubscribed, so we would, in the end, choose which one to pick and which size. So we made sure that we would select the best names that would be helpful for us. But in the end, even there, like I feel that we could have done better sometime. So it's something that sometimes you see the big name, you imagine that it's going to be the best to have it, and they're going to help you a lot. But you need to understand that maybe the big name has 1,000 more portfolio companies, and your ticket is much smaller compared to the one that they gave to another company. So they don't have the resources to actually support you. Not because they are bad, but maybe they just don't have. So I would say just be very careful. uh yeah, and I think those two, it's two very good advice.
Yeah, really good advice, especially the investment side as well. Because I can imagine a lot of projects raising money get quite quite excited, right? You've got these investors looking to give you all this cash, and you can finally grow the project how you want to grow it and build these amazing things and that kind of stuff. I can imagine sometimes that uh, that investment can maybe cloud your judgment a little bit, and maybe you have to look at things and like try and take that feeling out of it and really like analyze what they're actually putting in front of you and the help they're actually going to give. So now it's really good advice. And what if someone is stepping into the industry for the first time, like not necessarily as a CEO, but someone who just says, "Look, I really want to work in Web3." Um, anything you'd really like people to know about the industry before joining it?
Yes. I think that the best thing to do is be in communities, be a DJ, be part of things that you like and believe. And if you do that, you can even work for them. I've seen this a lot of time in Web3, and I guarantee that the best hire are the one who are passionate about what you do. Because this is a world where it's not enough to be skilled in your role, you need to be also passionate. Because it's a different philosophy. Web3, it's about you have to be a Web3 person. Plus, if you really like the project where you work, I guarantee you that you're going to be a good employee, and I guarantee you that you are going to be hired. So I think that this is the most important thing to do when approaching this. Try to learn, get into communities, get to understand how things work, not only from a technical side, let's say if you're technical, but also how the communities goes around that. Like it's a philosophy. Web3, it's not just about a simple job that you do your tasks and then you go home and that's it. No.
Yeah, completely right. I think that's really useful for people to understand. I always say to people that, say, if you're looking to get into the industry for the first time, it can be quite difficult to break in without having the experience already. There's all sorts of different ways you can do it. As you said there, like joining communities is is key, really. Like finding the projects that you really want to work for, work on, like things you really find interesting, and then joining those communities and getting involved and really trying to add value to projects and the communities and things. Um, I say to people, you should try and just have a think about the types of problems that you want to solve in the industry. So let's say you want to work on DeFi. I mean, there's all sorts of different areas in DeFi now, but let's say like DeFi, just as a fairly broad example, or it could be zero knowledge, or it could be more on the infrastructure side, like whatever it is. I would say to people, try and make a list of that's quite a lot, but like 200, 250 projects that you really want to work within, like that are solving the problems that you really want to solve. And then just start to reach out to the founders and just say, look, like, how can I get involved? How can I help? I'm so passionate
Correct.
about solving this particular problem.
I guarantee that this works. Like
Yeah.
it's really the best way. Like again, our best hire were from people that were already in our community, passionate, that they really wanted to work with us.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So what advice, say if someone is looking to build a career for themselves in the industry? So let's say they found the area that they're super passionate about and they want to focus on that. Once they get a role within the industry, how do you make sure that you can build a real successful career while you're here?
Uh, I think it's as many things in life. It's very valuable when you have a vertical expertise. So let's say you mentioned various topic, right? So if you want to work in zero knowledge, definitely build a vertical expertise that it makes you unique, and uh, people are gonna pay you for this uniqueness. Um, it's um, it's one important thing. So have something where you exceed, and the other is to be broadly knowledgeable. Let's say like um, I may need to hire someone like a developer, but I need this developer also to be understanding how the community works, because for example we always do things based on community feedback. We try to never disappoint them. So again, the philosophy of Web3 is important. So once you get that, I think that you should vertically improve your expertise over one topic, so that you can be easily scaling in the career in that sense. um, I also think that in it's not mandatory for all the role probably, but I think nowadays uh, people invest in um, more than invest and use products. They invest also and use ideas, vision. So being a vocal member of the community is always very good. So it's important to have also a social appearance, be able to interact with the others. This is important for career, I would say. Mostly, like you rarely see, like, I don't know, the an executive of a big blockchain, for example, that has a few followers on Twitter, on X. um, the two things are related. Like, you need to be also part of that if you want to be doing career and be successful.
Yeah, you're right. I think that again, that's something that people need to be aware of before joining the industry as well, right? Is the fact that it really does pay to put your thoughts out there and start to try and build a bit of a following on X or LinkedIn, like wherever you want to build your following. Really, crypto Twitter is probably the one of the main places. But yeah, just sharing your thoughts and becoming that thought leader, I think, can pay dividends. Really, like if you're joining businesses and you have that kind of following, a lot of companies really like it, and they can see that you're a real person who's passionate about the industry. You know what you're talking about. It's obviously obvious that you really want to stay here as well. So I think, yeah, I think that's again something that people should definitely be aware of, because that's very different to Web 2. Like you don't have to do that in Web 2 at all. You don't have to have any presence anywhere. Uh, yeah, you don't have to get into
Probably you
Twitter
need
to
to have
find
a
the
good
news.
LinkedIn, like that shows what your previous job were, career, and if you do some posting, it's a valid an added value, but it's not important as in Web3, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, you're completely right. So what does the future hold then for you and for Folks Finance?
Yeah, so we are now working hard on the launch of the new liquid staking on Algorand. Xalgo, it's being actually audited right now, so in the next few days we will be ready and live. After
Nice.
that, we will be focusing on expanding in new chain, listing new assets, and at the same time towards launching the token. So this is upcoming. I already mentioned the mobile app. There is a separate and dedicated team towards this, which in parallel is working on the launch of the mobile app, which will have also debit card. The idea around the mobile app is to connect the DeFi tools in a very seamless and simple way, so that even my father is going to be able to use it, because you have the opportunity of custody, and by using those technology you can also simplify a lot the processes, so you can build a much easier to use product. And for the long term, I would say that this is like the target. Like, we want to be leader of DeFi with our cross-chain expansion, decentralize, and at the same time build a product that can be the Revolut on blockchain, I will say.
That's a big mission. Sounds
Yes.
exciting.
Yes.
And Benedetto, to finish up, there's one question that I like to ask everyone. Um, Knowing what you know now about technology, leadership, entrepreneurship, Web3, if you could go back to the start of your career and give yourself a piece of advice, is there anything that
uh,
comes to mind?
yes. I think that I would, what I mentioned before, I would be just more wise, trusting my gut's feeling, being able to ask more to others when was needed, not rely too much on some investors, maybe. And everything else, I mean, if Folks is where it is today, survived the bear market, now doing good numbers, it's because we did a good job. So um, I always say, like, look, if the company goes bad, it's gonna be my fault. If the company is good, it's gonna be the team success. But um I very well know that the every company reflects its leadership. So I I feel blessed that we didn't do big mistakes, that we were able to pass the bear market strategically, and that we are here.
Sounds great. Benedetto, thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat today. You shared some great advice. Great to understand your journey and learn more about folks.
As
If
well.
anyone listening or watching wants to find out more information about you guys, uh, I'm guessing you have community on like Telegram.
Yes.
You on Discord as well, or
So if you go on our website, folks.finance, you are going to be able to see all of our social pages. We have obviously Twitter is very important. We have communities on Telegram, Discord, which are very fun also to be part of it. But as well, we have also newsletter, other pages if you want to stay updated. But I strongly suggest also to start to join if you want to learn our Folks Academy, where you can start to learn from zero to being an expert. And at the same time, we do a lot of on-chain tasks. For example, we do on Zili, Galxe, and soon we are going to launch a new one. So there's many ways that you can interact with folks. Just go on our website and make sure you start to follow. And if you want to follow me, I would suggest to follow me professionally. You can have a look on LinkedIn at Benedetto Biondi, and on X, my handle is Benedetto Bio. So feel free to follow me as well if you want to have some insight.
great stuff. Well, Benedetto, thank you very much again,
Thank you.
and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Thanks. Bye bye.